Hi, my name is Renee. This is my YouTube channel, which I call Relative Real Estate. I want to talk about things that matter when you're dealing with real estate purchases, sales. Hopefully I can help you learn a few things. And today I want to talk about the inspection period. What happens when a buyer goes under contract and they have inspections? Here in the state of Texas, we don't actually have an automatic inspection period like some states have. We have in our contracts an opportunity for a buyer to have what's called an option period. It's negotiated between the buyer and the seller, but the buyer actually has the unrestricted right to terminate for any reason during this option period. Generally, that option period is used for inspections and to negotiate any repairs. So a couple of examples of things I'm working with this week brought this to mind, and I thought maybe it's something I really should talk about with viewers. So I'm a listing agent on a property. It's a very nice home. We were under contract. We went under contract on May the 9th. So the buyers had a 10-day option period. They had inspections. Their option period expired at midnight on the 19th, which was last night. At 10 o'clock, I received a request for repairs. Now, typically, I try to turn my computer off at 9 o'clock at night. I usually will turn it back on at 9 o'clock in the morning, and that's just to set some boundaries. Last night, about 10 o'clock, just before I was shutting everything completely down, I thought I'm going to check one more time. Sure enough, 2 hours before the expiration of the option period, I receive a repair amendment. So what does my seller do with that? It's really up to him, to be quite honest. He can go ahead and choose to make repairs, but he doesn't have to. So kind of the lesson here is, if you're working with a real estate agent, especially here in Texas, it's really important to get your inspections done early. Get those repair requests, if there are any, get them to the seller so there's enough time for negotiations. 2 hours before your option period expires is not enough time for a seller to actually try to negotiate. So if there are big things that are being asked for, he has no idea what kind of money you're asking him to spend, or what the severity, if there are any, on these inspection requests. So that's one thing that I learned. A second thing that happened to me this week, again, it's on a listing that I represent the seller. In the state of Texas, the buyers have to actually purchase the right to have this unrestricted right to terminate. It's called the option check. And per our contracts, that option check, the option fee, whatever the amount that's negotiated, and usually it's a nominal amount that represents about 10% of the earnest money. So if your earnest money is $3,000, your option check might be $300. If your earnest money is $1,000, your option check might be $100. So it's a nominal fee. It's not a large amount of money, but it's one of the most important timelines on our contract, that in order for the buyer to have that right to terminate, that option fee must be delivered to and receipted by either the seller or the listing agent or listing broker. So again, had a contract that came through last week, and I still don't have the option fee. Inspections were performed. We are well past the 3 day. There's 3 days for that option fee to be delivered, and we're well past that time. So does my seller have to actually do anything? The buyers in this situation don't have an option period. So they've done inspections. We haven't heard from them on repair request. But again, what I want to point out on this video is just, if you are here in Texas, getting that fee, that option fee, to the seller or the listing broker within 3 days of contract execution, that is one of the most critical timelines, or you as a buyer will potentially lose your option period. Unfortunately, the buyer in this situation, he had delivered his check to his broker. The broker failed to deliver it to the seller or myself. So it is lost in the mail someplace. For me personally, I tell my team that delivery of that option check is absolutely critical, and they can drive their happy little selves across town if necessary to deliver that check to the listing broker within that 3 days. We do not stick it in the mail because the Postal Service, it's unreliable as far as a delivery date. We do not put our option fees in the mail unless it is overnighted with a tracking number. Because I want to know if that option check is not going to be delivered in time, we are driving it to that listing broker. So that's just another point I wanted to make with y'all. I hope that helps some or adds more confusion. If it does, by all means, send me a message, Renee Buckhoff at Remax Vintage in Houston, Texas. I'd love to hear from you, and I hope that you enjoy my videos. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.